And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episodes every single Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real World. On today's episode, I sit down with one of my longest friends and top dogs at the company EA Games, aka Electronic Arts, aka EA Sports. It's in the game. Markus Frieske. Markus is the head of influence at EA and is overseeing projects for almost every single EA game that they have. Markus is also a YouTuber who has been killing the game and testing new types of ways to create for YouTube. Now, to take this back, Markus and I met while I was in high school working at a car wash in Cedar Falls, Iowa. He was the first person to actually help me start making hip-hop music when my group schooled, and is one of those dudes who has been giving me years and years of mentorship, which I'm forever thankful for. Fast forward to now, Markus actually introduced me to EA Games and allowed me to direct my first true large, big budget branded video for Madden. We've worked on several projects since then and are always finding new ways to create and push the bar. In this podcast, we bounce all over the place to find out how Markus got this amazing position at EA. He shares some of the times he has hit rock bottom as a creator, but was determined to find a way out. He started at the bottom level position at EA and managed to build great relationships, put in thousands and thousands of hours every year, and literally created his own position overseeing dozens of employees. Now, Markus works to share his knowledge in the gaming industry through his podcast, The Creator's Toolkit. Go download it. I highly suggest you subscribe and listen to what he has to say. He has an army on YouTube known as the Dots, which follow his M.Frisk channel that he created. Just from dedicating a few hours a week to the channel, he's gained over 11,000 subscribers in less than a year and has over 1.6 million views on all of his videos. Make sure to stay tuned today because you're going to learn a lot of shit from Markus's story. I highly recommend not shutting this podcast the fuck off. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, you're probably wondering, what does Black with No Cream fucking stand for? What does that mean? Black with No Cream is a private content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We are a private group on Facebook open to creators of all kinds, aka if you make videos, if you're a photographer, if you do marketing, management, editing, dancing, I don't know, fucking want to fly to space because I've had an astronaut on the show. All creators are welcome. Our private group has been growing rapidly. We have a shit ton of members working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on Earth. And you can join our group if you want to by going to bwnc.com/join. We would love to have you. Please join. If you're interested in supporting Black with No Cream, please go to blackwithnocream.com/merch. We have hats, shirts, stickers, pins, and if you're listening to this right now, I'm going to drop a fucking early bomb on y'all. I just got Black with No Cream coffee mugs. I'm not going to post photos of them yet. You'll hear this before that's out on the internet. But if you listen, you now know that I have fucking a bunch of coffee mugs sitting in my house that I'm gonna put up on the web store soon, so pay attention to that. If you don't have money, I totally get it. Just go to iTunes and leave me a review. That's all I ask. Just hop on iTunes, leave me a review, let me know what you think of the podcast, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, any tips, tricks, all that shit to making this podcast better. I'm listening, man. It's for us, so do that. That's it. Enjoy the work week. It's 2 a.m. I'm just pointing this out. It's 2 a.m. Friday night. I'm in my closet recording this podcast intro because I have to get up in 3.5 hours to get ready to go to Joshua Tree for a weekend getaway where I will not have my podcast shit, so I had to record this intro right now. And I just got done shooting for 13 hours on set with the superstar, and I can't talk about that at all. But today was a good day for me. I just want to point that out to everyone. So anyway, that's it. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in every Sunday for a new Black with No Cream episode. And without further ado, I bring to you my interview with Markus Frieske and the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. We are back with another motherfucking Black with No Cream podcast.
Yeah.
Again. I'm kind of killing it right now. This is like, I don't know in order how it releases, but I think this is like my 14th, 15th podcast. That's pretty dope. But today I have a special guest, one of my longest friends, Markus Frieske, a.k.a. Marcus Aurelius, a.k.a. M. Frisk, a.k.a. he's got all kinds of different fucking names, but
True.
it's Marcus.
Very true.
You can call him Marcus. What's up, dude?
Yo, what's up? What's up? It's good
nothing.
to be here.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we're at, somewhere in Los Angeles, but we out here.
Yeah, we're at my office in Century City, chilling in a boardroom, hanging out. Me and Marcus, let's just see, how do I brief this for you? Marcus is like one of the dudes at EA Sports or EA Games
You want me to give you,
that has some clout.
you want me to give you the
Rundown?
talking point?
Yeah, go. What do you do?
So are you going to,
What?
how you going to do this? Do you cut?
Hell no, I don't cut. This is live.
This is live. Okay.
Fucking get it out.
So two things. Head of social influencer content at EA.
Yep.
So those that create on social. So all you do is looking for a brand deal. I'm your guy. Secondly,
And his email is.
Yeah.
His phone number is.
Yeah. Secondly, a dude responsible on reaching Gen Z. So you got Gen Y, Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z. Gen Z is 18 and younger. So the kids,
Yeah.
as you say.
The kids.
Yeah. So
He's got a lot. He's got a lot of power at EA, and can throw his weight around and do cool shit and travels the world because of his job. But it wasn't all fucking easy to get there.
It's definitely not been easy.
I've known Marcus since I was in high school, which is actually really tight if you look at shit now, because back in the day, we both met at a car wash, right? And we both worked at this car wash at a dealership, washing cars. He played baseball for the university. I played nothing in high school. And
You played nothing. You played instruments.
I played instruments.
You had the
and shit,
T-Mobile mobile flip phone. I remember that.
No, the fucking sidekick, homie.
The sidekick.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
savage.
But instantly, me and Marcus became friends over some music shit. And then fast forward to now, we are where we are, and we work together a lot. But it's sick. And I'm glad to have you on the fucking show, because this dude has so much fucking wisdom. He has his own podcast. What do you call your podcast?
Creator's Toolkit.
Creator's Toolkit.
Yep.
Pretty fucking self-explanatory. He will literally teach you everything about being a creator. He works with a shit ton of YouTubers. Mm-hmm. Like, on average, how many YouTubers are you guys like responsible with as far as like partnering with and shit?
Oh, man, I think so. In the last 5 years, if I were to ballpark it, I'd say between 500 to 1,000.
500 to 1,000 fucking individual people.
That probably another ballpark, probably reach subscriber count 100 million or more.
100 million people.
Yeah. So, and so I think and why I think like what you're doing is tight. And then also like kind of what I'm trying to do is that I learned that even no matter where you're at as a creator, like you always need help. Mm-hmm. Like everyone always a step of the way needs some level of help, or like validation that they're going the right path.
Right.
Like, I mean, I talk to dudes all the time that, millions, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they're like, yo, hey, what do you think about this thumbnail and title? And like, hey, like dudes running up to you like, hey, what did you shoot that with?
Right.
And it's one of the craziest thing ever. And I think the number one thing that I've realized is that those that have made it were crazy enough to think they could make it. And that's really the delta, like between making it and not. It's not the talent. It's, it's sometimes not even the work ethic. It's just, did you do it? Are you passionate about it? Did you do it over and over and over and over again? Because you just like, did you do it or did you not?
Right.
For how long a time? And it's a time game. It's like I said this on my specific podcast, but if someone told you you can only move one step a day for the rest of your life, walk one step, the whole step you'd be like, man, this is terrible. I'm making no progress. But if you really were to look at it over time, 10 years from now, you would have walked from here, Los Angeles, to Florida. And that's substantial.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it and going through it, it feels like you're doing nothing.
Right.
Everybody wants to get to California to Florida in like days. But there's no such thing as overnight success. Yeah, there's no such thing as overnight success.
That's true.
And those that have just said, you know what, I really like going a step at a time and just doing it, are the ones to make it. And so, I mean, this, you know, what you're doing, Creators Toolkit, is about like trying to inspire, motivate, and give help.
I love it too, because Marcus has always been one of the like wizards behind everything. Like every time that's how we became friends, just because instantly we both knew we were on the same wave, even though like I was a few years younger than him. I'd be in high school and he worked at like our nightclubs in Iowa or whatever at the university, and he'd be sneaking me in and I'd be kicking it with all these older kids. And like I didn't drink and shit, so I'd just be at the club like and you know what I mean. Marcus is like working but what fast forward, like I love thinking about where we came from, because we can get into that. But to where you are now, what would you say? How did you get into? Because what's interesting is you don't have millions of subscribers. You don't have millions of followers on Instagram, Twitter, whatever the shit is. You started a channel that's actually picking up steam. And you got like what, 10,000 subs and
I think in total in like a year, like 1.5 million views.
1.5 million views on a channel that has no ties to EA though, right?
No.
That's tight.
Just to like try and flex a little bit, like to create. Like, I mean, who am I to work with creators and I don't even do it myself? Like, that's one thing I've always said to myself. Like, I will never be this suit that sits in the high castle and like looks and says we should do this and that and like never actually do it.
Right.
And so I've made a commitment. It's just like, you know what? Like if there's dudes out there that are gonna make daily content, I'm gonna do it, because when I sit across from them and have a real conversation, like we're gonna be on the same page, and I can tell. Like I can 100% like feel that now, a year into like really going ham on it. Like you know, that 1.5 million or those 10,000 subscribers, like they have like weight behind it. And I'll look to someone that has 10, 20, 100K and I'm like, damn, like that's work.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people and maybe brands that just see like a number. They're just like, oh, he's not big enough, or they don't see like the passion, the hard work that goes into it. So, I mean, that's something I've always really focused on. And I think this last year, 2 years is like looking at that more, like trying to be more in tune with the, you know, those that I'm working with.
Right.
Like it's really helped me in, like just being able to see the future.
Yeah.
It's 'cause it's weird. Like you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Right.
And you kind of got to be in it to know it.
So you work with one of the fucking biggest gaming companies in the world, right? Like, is it one of the biggest?
So I think Activision's #1 publisher, Electronic Arts is second. I think Activision dethroned us a little bit here in the last year or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still,
that's fucking crazy. There's like two people that are fucking, two companies that are like head to head.
I mean, there's clearly others that people really care about. There's also mobile games that are huge, but Electronic Arts is up there.
So, how the fuck, how do you go from where you came from to getting that job?
I think after this is done, and I hope everybody that's listening to this particular episode is thinking to themselves, like, all right, well, this is a dude that made it somewhere. And as you say, like, how do you get from washing cars to like being
working for like a multi-billion-dollar motherfucking gaming the biggest shit,
and being able to like usher in the future, for that. Like, how do you do that? And it comes down to two real things. It's like being aware of like who you are and what you really like to do, and then also like not being afraid to like have a vision and to push it. Like, those are two things that I would say over the last 5 years, like I've grown up like considerably. Yeah. So I've been in Electronic Arts or EA for 5 years. And up until that point, like I didn't really know who I was or what I was doing or even what I wanted to do. Like it was like, be a baseball player. I was like, maybe musician or maybe shoot music videos. And like we've talked a lot, that I'm a flip-flopper, like overthinker, overanalyzer. But I think when I took a step back and, life comes at you and it hits you and you think about all these things that don't really matter, and you just think about like the root, and you look at yourself in the mirror and it's like, who are you? And like, what drives you?
Right.
And if you really think about those two things and you remove all the other like bullshit that could get in the way, you kind of have this like clear vision of like what you could do every single day for the rest of your life. And so like, at EA, like when I first got in, I didn't fully even know then. I had an idea in gaming, and EA was a way to get there, but it wasn't until like being in for like a year or so that I realized that what drives me is helping people and creating. And creating is obviously multidimensional. There's many different ways to create.
Right.
But like, I didn't know how to merge those two things together, and I was over-indexing into this creator aspect. Like, I want to create all this different stuff, like create music, create videos, write. Even still to this day, it's like podcast, video, every social channel, 2 of them. I'm still doing that stuff, but that's just a part of who I am. And so when I kind of like really focus on those two, and then like what drives me, and that's where the help people kind of comes in. I realized that I ask myself like this question, and I'll ask you this, and I want you to answer, and I'll ask everybody that's listening, what type of person are you? Are you the type of person that likes to build the blueprint for the art museum? Are you the type of person that likes to curate what art goes where in the museum? And are you the type of person that likes to actually paint the paintings that gets hung up in the museum? You got to answer, like, honestly, which one of those 3 people you are. Because, and actually I won't go into it I'll have you answer.
Before you go into it?
Yeah, before I go into it.
That's a tough question.
It's really
tough. What was
tough.
the first option? There's 3 options.
So, do you want to be the architect that designs
The building. Do you want to be the painter or the artist that designs the art?
Yeah. Or do you want to be the curator that selects and where the art goes?
I can't pick 2.
You can only pick one.
I mean, I think deep down, everyone wants to be the artist, right?
That's the misconception.
But I think everybody wants to be that. I've always wanted to be
think about
the
this.
artist. You know what I'm saying?
Well, think about this. I'm sure, and I'll add another dimension.
See, this is what I'm talking
Not
about, guys.
just-
He's a wizard. He's doing some wizard shit right now.
Not just think about what, think about why. Why would you want to do one of those 3 things? This is why I say what drives you.
That's what I'm saying. I always get a high if I make a video and I push fucking publish and people start watching it. I get a high from knowing that someone like soaked that in, right? I get a high from that. At the same time, I could throw a show. When we lived in Iowa, I would throw shows, and when people would come and I saw people have a good time from the time those doors opened till the time that shit closed, and I constructed that, I got a high from that. At the same token, I would be playing that same show, so I was also the artist. That's why I wanted to pick fucking 2, because I don't want to build the fucking venue. I want to be in there orchestrating the shit and be the artist.
Well, what you just said was all 3. But
Whatever.
Yeah. And I had a very similar answer. And, so like no one asked me this analogy. Like, I came up with it myself, and I ask like people I work with all the time. I ask it on interviews. When I interview people, I ask that question.
Yeah.
Who are you? Because I need to know what drives you. Because the people I work with is exactly what you just said. The people that live for the impact they have on another person.
Right.
Not for selfish motivation, not because they want to look good to somebody else or this other thing. But, and then so I'll fast forward to like what the answer to those 3 things. And really it's like the painter feels satisfaction from like actually their work of art.
Right.
Like they feel accomplished that they made something and it exists somewhere for people to see. The curator is concerned about the experience, Did I create something, even though it's not even mine that I made, but I took all of these things to make something that someone walked in and I can see it in their face that they enjoyed?
Right.
Or did I feel impactful that I built this big grand vision that someone then brought to life? And so those three roles kind of really, to me, like those like psychological thoughts, like they apply to almost every line of like form of creation.
I was
Like
gonna
you've
say,
got,
like you end up doing a blend of all of them, no matter
you
what.
do like somewhat of blend, but when you start to understand what really drive, like what would you really love to do, like every single day, you can align that to a profession. And I think people, they get caught in this idea that they want to do all three. And you can't do all three because you stretch yourself thin and you might just not be good. Like there's some people that will hammer themselves and do the same thing over and over. But like, sure, there's do it, like take one step at a time. But maybe you're just not good enough at that one of those things.
Right.
And so that's why I say about being self-aware. Like for me, I know I'm not the best artist. That's just fact. Like if that was the case, we would have dropped one track and we would have been somewhere else. Like you could probably say the same about you and I.
Well, it's a sidebar so everyone understands.
Sure.
When we were in college, Marcus was making beats, right? Like he had a fuck ton of beats, and he was making beats all the time, rapping on the beats and shit. And he basically sparked, because I was already in bands, playing drums, all this shit. He was hearing the music and whatnot. And then when we started like playing music at the car wash, we'd be like rapping and shit. And I think that's how we connected off of that. But later on, Marcus ends up moving away from Iowa and goes to work in Denver, Colorado, or Springs,
There's a good
Colorado
story
Springs.
there. I want to come back to that because like there's another powerful message like that you and we talked about this the other day. Like we probably talk, I don't know if we want to get deep into it now. So let me wrap up
wrap up your first thing.
Wrap
Come
up
back to
the
this.
rest.
You have to remember because my brain's shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll remember it.
All right.
But what was I saying?
Being
exactly?
self-aware.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So like you and I, like we like wanted so badly to be the artist, like on stage, and we, did some cool stuff.
Right.
Like a lot of stuff that we could point back to now and be like, yo, we did that. Like no one else can really, not many people can say they did that. But you hit this wall where you realize that you don't have the talent 100% to be on that level. However, we still have the taste, the eye, the work ethic, and the passion to be able to understand what good looks like and create something out of that. And so that's where that curator comes in.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that don't know how to do any of that, but can set a grand vision and be able to like, yo, I'm going to build this building. I'm going to hand you the keys to be able to then paint the walls and hang the paintings and make it the best experience as possible. I'll just make sure structurally it's right. It's in the right spot, right money, all of this and that. And so for me, in life, you get into the situation where you feel like you have to be a certain thing to succeed. But that's just society telling you a different story that's contradictory to you. That's just your family, your friends telling you something that's not actually real. But when you realize to yourself, like, you're good at this thing, the specific thing within those three constructs, and you like really commit to it, that's when you like become elite. That's when you can like truly make an impact. And so for me, wanted to be an artist literally almost all my life. And then I was like, I don't know. And then maybe I need to be someone that like, I need to be more corporate and like have to, be more vision and like big broad setting and direct a bunch of people. It's not me either. Like I found out that for me, I'm good in the moments of like being able to help people that be able to create and develop experiences and storytell without actually having to create it myself sometimes.
I love this story that you shared with me. We were, so at EA, Marcus basically like catapulted my career out here in a certain way where he put me on to direct, which was ended up being like my first technical directing job, which was for Madden 17, right? Madden 17?
16.
16?
Yeah.
And we had Lil Dicky, Rob Gronkowski,
Yep.
Antonio Brown, Von Miller, and Marcus called me like 4 days before and was like, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of money, pay a bunch of these athletes a shit ton of money.
Was it really 4 days?
It was like fucking
Dang.
the quickest turnaround of my life. And so I had to decide a lot of shit. And he was basically like, this is what we need. Do your thing. And so it was like, be creative. And I was like, yo, man, but are they going to, like, I don't really have a whole role, like, as far as, like, directing. I've done a ton of shit, and I know I can do this. He's like, no, I already know you can do it, so don't worry about it. Like, I'm the guy that said, yeah, so go. I'm like, fuck, okay. So we do this whole project, and that just took me into a new space where, again, respect and all these things started happening more and more. And from that, we would go and do a bunch of other shit through EA. He'd have me doing different stuff or whatever. And there was an event at, what's that shit called? EA Play?
Yeah, E3. EA Play.
E3 festival? Is it a festival? Conference?
It's basically a trade show, but like it's just E3.
Yeah, okay. So E3,
It's like, what's that tech show that happens
yeah, the one in Vegas.
in Vegas?
I can't think of it right now. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. It's like that, but for gaming.
Yeah, so I go to, it's like downtown LA, mad shit. I think we were just getting like some drone shots or something for Titanfalls. And so we were hanging out, and Marcus was talking about how he was in the room with these like gamers that came in. I think they all got to try a game, get to play it, screen capture, and then take it and make a video out of it. And one of the kids, through talking to Marcus, was like, oh, dude, can you watch this video and like tell me what you think? And you like checked it out. You're like, okay, this is cool. But what you should do is this, and this, because this dude basically just got famous because he was like recording his voice and putting it on top of games and just got famous from overnight and had no idea how to truly tell stories. Marcus gave him like 3 pieces of advice. The next day, you said he came back and like made like a fucking shit ton of money off ad revenue.
He had a million views in 24 hours.
A million views in 24 hours.
And I was like,
he's like, dude, you killed it with that thing. Thanks so much for helping me. And Mark is like, God damn. But that's like a perfect example of what you're talking about. Like you literally can see what they're doing and take that and run with it and turn that around fast, which I think plays a big part in your like current job.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, 100% like self-awareness. Like I became aware of like, you know, like sometimes you just have to be real with yourself. Like, what are you good at? What are you not good at? And like, don't kid yourself and don't kid the people around you, and be honest and double down on it. And sure, there's some things you got to say yes to and learn how to do it later. But to truly be an expert, like this is so for everyone listening that's like trying to jump into the industry in some capacity, everybody is like, I need to be a jack of all trades. I need to be able to do it all and say I do it all. But to get past that next level, you have to specialize, 100%. You have to be elite at 1 or 2 or 3 things. You can't just be average at everything, or else you continue to get the work that warrants that, which is, you know, support, PC, like type, you know, AD type roles. But if you want to be the best of the best, you have to commit. Like you can't stretch yourself thin. It's like, if you want to be the best shooter in the league, well, you can't waste your shots, you know, like, yeah, I mean, you can't waste your time, like, doing something that's not shooting a basketball.
Right,
like,
yeah.
And the same thing applies for in life. Like, the whole theory of 10,000 hours from Malcolm Gladwell, it's, like, real. Like, you know, most people don't have 10,000 hours to work with before they even have to start doing a job. And so every hour is valuable. And so, yeah, like for me, I try to be a jack of all trades. I'll do everything. I can do Photoshop. I can do motion graphics. I can edit. I can record. I can do all these different things. And I used to say that's what I could do, and I could do it. But then I realized, okay, to be honest with myself, I'm good at a few things. I'm mediocre at some others, and I have a lot to learn in other areas. And the crazy thing is, the power is you can change it. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you can learn stuff, but you have to be willing to commit extra hours to do that. It can't replace hours that's already going to help you in craft, like being a 100% craftsman in the thing that you want to be recognized for. So it took me 25 years to figure that out. And then truly committing myself to that over the last 5 years is really where it got me to here. I could have lost the sight of, my goal when I was here and just kind of like flowed and allowed someone to drag me around and go here and do this and do that. But I was like, no, here, this is the way we need to go. Pushed it hard and not wavered. And that's a tough thing to do because, when you get to sometimes a company as big as EA, like the tendency is to just go with the flow because you want to keep a job.
Yeah.
But
I feel like
you're not.
If you don't challenge something like that, because I've learned just from working with you how corporate that shit can be. And when it is that corporate and you have all these chains of command and all these different holes you have to jump through or hoops you have to jump through, you're constantly like going upstream. It's an upstream battle, especially from you trying to push creativity and make that portion of the company that matters. Because you're talking about how you guys move like your budget goes to digital from TV and all these things get pushed around, which means if it's in digital, that's a digital world is creative, like using cell phones to make content. And you know what I mean? Like, and you have to like tell people this is why this is important. And how hard is that dealing with, I guess, the constant changes in this? I
think some people might find it hard. I hear about it, people I work with, some people on my team like struggle with it. Me, I love it.
Yeah.
So sure, I'm self-aware about what I'm really passionate about, but I'm also very aware, and this is like, another pro tip for everyone listening, understand where you self-sabotage and do what it takes to prevent those things from happening. So if you're always late, do things to prevent yourself from being late. If you like one thing that Gary Vee said, he's like, I was getting overweight, never worked out, but it wasn't until I realized that I only work harder when I'm trying to impress another person. So I hired a personal trainer that I felt like I was always needing to impress and never let down, and it changed everything for me.
That's crazy.
And so for me, that like I was thinking about that stuff too as I was learning how to my professional career, if you will. And I realized I love competition. It's always been there. I just never really realized it. And so I always need an opposing force. So I love that. Like I love someone telling me I'm wrong because my immediate reaction is bet.
Yeah.
And so the way I deal with it is I anticipate what people are going to say to tell me why I'm wrong ahead of time. And I am waiting and I'm itching. I'm not like, oh, I hope they don't say this. I'm like, please say this.
Yeah. So
I can make you feel dumb when I serve up this, this Frisbee to you that you can't catch. Or, or when someone, like I know there's going to be a situation where someone might think differently. Like I don't know. I don't walk away from it because at the end of the day, to be creative, to be an icon, which I want to talk about icons later. I'm really fascinated with this concept of icons. But to be an icon, it's to be different than anybody else or anything that's come before you.
Right.
And icons force change. Icons change the course of history. Icons put cities on the map. Icons revitalize brands. Icons change the way people look at many different things. And so to me, like high level goal for myself, I want to be an icon.
Right.
Someone that thinks differently than the way a brand or product should market anything. And so I know that if I'm actually saying things that aren't getting challenged, I'm probably not doing the right things. Or either, well, there's that, or it's like, I don't know, maybe just people are tired or arguing with me because everything could be a debate potentially. It's a good debate. It's not like I'm not raising my voice and angering. I'm just asking tough questions that people can't answer sometimes. Right. And then you're like, I'm not going to do that again. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But to deal with it, you just have to be comfortable with it. Like, you have to be comfortable with challenging the norm, because if you're not, then you're just like a follower. And to be a creator that like with aspirations that people have, like, I love looking through the like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I love looking through Black with No Cream. I look at everything. I don't always comment or like or whatever. I might occasionally, but I look at it all. And I see a lot of people asking for feedback and help and thoughts and, hey, what should I do here and here? And 50% of it all looks the same. Every single video looks exactly the same. And I'm like, where's originality?
Right.
Like I understand that there's people that have set like a certain level of like a bar, and that's fine to fit right in, but those people are already established. Like, you cannot knock someone off their pedestal when you're trying to literally make the same thing as them.
Right.
To do that, you have to make it substantially better or substantially different, and ironically, both.
Right.
Or iconically, both.
Iconically.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's everybody wants, like, a lot of creators have goals, but their actions don't mirror the goals.
Right.
And I don't know if they realize it or not, but like, it's time to look yourself in the mirror, think about kind of the things I've asked for, like, what are you, who are you, what drives you, and are you doing something that's iconic or not? Are you doing something that's shareable or not?
Who would you be? The architect, the painter, or the
I'm the curator, 100% all day. Because when I hang something up on the wall, if it's your video or it's someone else's painting, I'm cool with that, because I want to be able to select your content and be like, this is good, this is great.
Right.
I know exactly how to take what you've made and show it to the right people that need to see it to do whatever.
Yeah.
Like whatever the story
is.
we want to tell.
Right.
And so the like the art now, that's why the curator is always fascinating to me. That's 100% I'm a curator. I'll take all these different pieces of content to tell the story that I want to tell and the experiences that I want to tell for the people that enter. And I get the added benefit of when they experience it, I get to look them right in the face and see how they react. As a painter, you don't always get that luxury. Someone buys your art, and you're on to the next one. Stroke, stroke, stroke. You feel happy that you made something that you then sold off, but you don't actually get to see how people like respond to it. And so it's a different level of like accomplishment and appreciation.
I think I'm really glad that I was able to get, because you're right, like making videos, if we sit there and work on music videos all day, or we work on the documentaries and shit like this, they come out and they're viewed by millions. But like, the best feeling in the world was Chris's doc coming out and me going to the fucking Century City, any movie theater in LA, and watching people watch my movie for the first time. I've been sitting there staring at the edit for months and months and months and months and years, and then only seeing like a handful of people watch it. But now you see a theater packed out, and I think that brings me back. That was one of the closest feelings to that, what you're talking about. Yeah. To being an artist, when we got to play music and play in front of people, and I could see reactions instantaneously because we tried to put on a show, which was a great feeling. But at a certain point, you know what I mean? Like you say, you have to kind of decide like what you're good at, and you move forward in it, which is crazy because you come, I want to explain this because I think that this all plays into who you are now. And I like coming from baseball. Marcus played baseball, and I can tell a story because I fucking know it. And the motherfucker was a beast, right? Like, beast. You were originally from Washington. Yep. Moved from, like, Seattle, Spokane, whatever you call it. Moved to Iowa and played for University of Northern Iowa and played baseball there. And wasn't there, like, a time where there was a league, like, the league was, like, you, like a AAA team or something, like, wanted you and you kept going to school?
So basically, to go back a little bit, and I can kind of... So you asked me a long back, like, hey, what feedback do you have for the podcast? And I talked about the defining moment, or the formative moment.
Right.
I wouldn't say I have a 100% formative moment. Like, I'm self-proclaimed like butterfly. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, literally almost till I was 25.
Right.
But I will say early on, the formative moments that created the backbone for who I am was playing baseball.
For sure.
Because it's a game of failure. You do not succeed like 60, 70% of the time. And then that makes you good.
Right.
Long hour games, 4 or 5 hours, continual mental, like strenuous. You can't show emotion. It's not like football where you hit somebody. It's not like basketball where you can yell at somebody or celebrate. It is even keel. And it's a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally I approach life as it's still a game.
Right.
In that way. And so for and I've never that's never wavered. I've always had that, and I still approach it like that. Like an L is an L. Like I'm not afraid of L's. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think L's make you better for the next thing. Some people are afraid of it. Like I legit know people that spend hours, days on presentations, and they think their idea is like epic. And they walk in and someone says no, and they turtle shell right there. They haven't even got the firm no. They've just got a, oh, well, and they're just like, oh my God, they don't like my idea. I've struck out. I'm out. And like any no can be a yes is the way I look at it. But also, all right, I'm going to get back up to the plate and knock this out of the park. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's like that, but dealing with failure is a tough thing that everybody has to deal with, and only some people can handle it. But it's another thing to get comfortable with. It's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in the way that you interact with people, the way you challenge people, the L's that you're going to catch, and there should be many, because if you're not catching L's, then you're not learning anything. Right. And it's just a factor. Like you're for 5-10 years of your life, you're going to catch L after L and learn and have some success and get some confidence and lose some confidence. But
what's one way that, taking, because we all do it, and especially in this industry, you're experiencing constant L's. What's one way to keep your head up?
Well, so I think I'll start with just like what I do and then maybe kind of branch off from there. So keeping your head up, for me, means that with every, failure or loss or whatever, creates another opportunity. Everything is an opportunity. Like there's that old saying that, everything happens for a reason. And I wouldn't go as far to say that, because I'm, and this is because of my personality too, I'm actually a person that feels like you can control your own fate. Like I have this weird, like I wouldn't say actually believe it, but deep down, we are in a simulation in my mind, because I truly do believe you put your mind to it and you say it, what you want over and over and over again, you make it happen. And so for me, when a failure comes, there's a grander vision to that, and like it creates an opportunity. And so I can't tell you how many times where a failure in the moment, like, one that really makes your stomach turn, retrospectively ended up being a blessing. And it's happened a lot. Like out of college, I had an opportunity to go to Gonzaga to Gonzaga University to play baseball. And I had an issue with, so I went down to community college in Fresno, and from going to California to Washington, some of the credits didn't transfer. And so to get into a private school, $27,000 tuition, I got a full ride offer to play baseball at Gonzaga back home. Damn. And couldn't do it because technically I was short credits because I had a couple didn't transfer from community college to there. And so instead of coming in as a sophomore, I would have come in as a freshman, which wouldn't have made me like eligible, basically. And so basically scholarship pulled, didn't go to Gonzaga. In that moment, just train wreck. Like it was the biggest moment of failure feeling like, wow, like
That close.
the smallest of things, like you never think about, oh, I'm going to take this class. Like in the moment, you're like, whatever, this class is fine. And the fact that I chose one class that wasn't like a core, like, you know, a core 101 class was the reason why I didn't go a full ride to Gonzaga.
That's crazy.
Like nuts. I look back at it now and I'm like,
Some super fucked shit.
but then I think about it and I'm just like, then I don't go to Iowa.
Yeah.
I'm maybe not here. Maybe not sitting here. Maybe I don't meet my wife or my daughter. Like there's so much there that it kind of created this like, all right, I'm never going to make that mistake again. I'm going to pay attention to everything,
Right.
first of all. And so you get a heightened response. It's like you're driving down the freeway and then, you know, the cop pulls out and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get pulled over. And they passes you and you're like, woo.
Yeah.
Like, after that, you're just like, 10 and 2.
Pay attention a little bit
Yeah.
more.
And so that's the first one. And then secondly, I had this greater appreciation for like the academic side of like college, because you know you go in, you don't really know, like as an athlete you're like, oh, they'll make it work for me, and it didn't work for me, and I learned the hard way in that situation. And so it changed how I carried myself and what I did. And so the opportunity was, hey, and I believe this, it was, we're going to give you an L now that's going to work better for you in the long run. You just got to trust it. You got to trust the system. You got to trust the process. But in that moment, it felt like the worst thing in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like worst thing in my entire life. So
then, summarizing kind of your life in a nutshell, you end up going to Iowa after that?
Yeah.
Straight to Iowa, which had a good baseball program for a little while. And it ended up canning after you. Did you finish? You were a senior?
Yeah, so the Title IX thing, Title IX ended the whole, baseball program.
That's crazy. They
2 or
took
3
that
years
shit.
after.
After you were done?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. But I remember there was a time when we were working at the car wash and shit. And then maybe this was after this. And because we were all in college and you finished baseball, but you were going to try to go back.
Yep.
You wanted to try to go back to train so you could try out for the minors or something maybe?
Yeah, so I played SemiPro. So I played a couple different summer leagues in Northwoods. And
You did the Northwood League?
I did, yeah.
My brother did that.
Yeah, I played for Waterloo, played for Brainerd.
Oh, yeah, you played for the Waterloo Bucks. That's so legendary.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the shit. The Waterloo Bucks was where we went to watch baseball games.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I did that, and you know, I'd always my summer coach, Steve Abney, he's a regional cross-checker for the Cleveland Indians, and you know, he signed CC Sabathia and a couple other big Indians players like Manny Ramirez and stuff like that.
So tight.
And so he had a ton of respect, but he also, as part of his farm program, wanted to coach, semi-pro. In the summer, and kind of get the scoop on up-and-comers. And he was really hard on me. I don't know why. Because I think he didn't understand me because of, I have a tendency to be quiet. When I don't have anything to say, I'm not going to say it. However, if I have something to say, then I will say it, and will weirdly, maybe seemingly get in people's face, and they're not ready for it because they're like, wait, what? Why is this quiet guy all of a sudden now all in my shit? And so I think that it was always interesting to him, and so he saw potential in me, saw talent in me, but he saw someone that had question marks around, do I have the personality to even make it to the league? And so it was constant pushing and testing to see if he could break me, but never broke. And one of the funniest stories I can give to really paint that picture is, I batted leadoff. I walk to start the game off. I get to first, and then I steal just without getting the sign. Just steal, just blow the guy out of the water, get to second easy. We ended up, the next 3 batters get out, and I stay on second and take my helmet off. I run in and, drop my stuff and get my glove. And I, go grab it, and I'm running out, and there's someone warming up at my position. And I was like, I got out there and I was like, yo, what's up, dude? And he's like, go talk to coach. And I was like, so I go back in, and he's like looking at me. It's just, I'm going back in. I'm not even crossed the baseline, like, I'm not even off the field yet.
Right.
Like, not even close, to, get in. And he's just staring a hole at me. And I was like, oh, he's not happy. And I get in there and I put my stuff in, and I'm like, I'm not even going to go talk to him. Like, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to wear it. And he gets up and walks over to me, and he's like, don't ever do that again. And walks away and sits down. But, like, basically the story was I basically did a thing, and that wasn't anyone told me to do it. Even though I was successful, didn't matter. But like that was like how it was. Like that's the way it kind of was to me. And that's kind of what the way baseball is when you get to that level. Like they test you so hard mentally because you get up at 8, 9 a.m. every day. You get to the field, you work out, you run, lift weights, whatever it may be, depending on your weight and conditioning program. And you have lunch, and you have a little bit of a break. Then you start taking batting practice, 2, 3, get on the field, etc. Goes up until 6, 7 when the game starts, and the game's 4 or 5 hours.
Right, that's all
You're
day.
done at 11. Then you eat, shower, get on the bus, go to the next venue, the next spot. Every single day.
Damn.
And so you're physically tested, emotionally tested, and like towards the end of it, I was exhausted. I remember stepping up to the plate thinking like, God, hope I just strike out so I can go sit in the dugout. Like it is intense. And so they really try and hammer you hard. They try and throw at you all because they are banking on people quitting or giving up or showing fatigue before they even want to invest into you.
Yeah, for sure.
And so but I got through it, and I remember after I finished the season, and you were getting ready to part ways, and everyone goes to different levels, of different programs, and Coach Abney comes to me, and he was like, stand up, and he gives me a hug, and he goes, if you ever need anything, you always have my number to call me. And it was like, what just happened? Like, this is a Twilight Zone. But it was like one of those moments where I started like kind of realized that it was all like part of the scheme, the plan. Like I was just, they were just testing me to see if I even had it in me. And so I, didn't know at the time. I didn't fully know what to expect, but I looked at it that way. But then afterwards, we were in constant communication. He's like, "Oh, I'm trying to get you on this team. I got a tryout for here and here." And so he was like in my corner all of a sudden.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yes, I do need something. I need to go pro. Fucking set it up, champion.
And he was like, "Oh, you need this and that, and hey, go get your eyes checked and this and that."
Wow.
And do personality tests and like guiding me in all these things. And I was like, "This is what we need to do to get you on the team." And so it was a really interesting experience for me, but,
what was the ultimate reason why nothing happened from it?
I got hurt my arm.
Oh yeah.
And then I just I still don't throw the same today.
It's crazy.
My arm still hurts sometimes when I throw. So I went from being able to throw, 90, 95, cross a diamond to now maybe, well, not now, but I mean at the time, 80, 85. And went from being able to play short and outfield to playing second. Because I hurt my arm, kind of, dislocated shoulder, torn labrum. So
from playing baseball?
Mm-hmm. So never was the same Yeah, never the same after that.
So back then, you know, that shit goes down. And at the time, I was at community college, and I met my homie Bai.
Yeah.
And so me and Bai were sitting in class, and I just remember we were in the back of the class. We had this teacher. She was a total fucking... She was a bitch, dog.
We know who this is.
I don't think you do.
Yes, I do.
At Hawkeye?
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, Hawkeye Community
I thought it
College.
was someone else.
Nah. So I'm sitting there, and this chick just the worst. She hated me. It was crazy. I'm pretty sure my mom found out, like, she was like, oh, yeah, I don't, like, she would see, like, what this chick was doing. Like, every time I come back, she never agreed with me on the teacher sucking. Anyway, whatever. So me and Bai are sitting in the back. We just talk shit about her to each other, like, dude, I can't believe she's making us do this. Can't believe we're doing all this, just whatever. And we started talking about rap, and I was like, yo, you got to check out some of these beats my friend made, because you had, I think, just moved, or you were about to move. And I'm like, yo, he's got all these beats. I got all these beats. We got to listen to these beats. He's like, oh, come over to my house. So he has me come over to his spot, and he was with his now wife, Ashley. And it was weird because I was like, yeah, I've been writing like raps. Like, you got to check out these raps. Come over here and rap them. And at my house. So I come over and I have to rap them to him and his girlfriend. And I was like feeling real uncomfortable about it. And I did. And then that formulates me and Bai starting to be like a group. We're like, we should rap on these things. So he starts rapping on Marcus's beats. He's got all these bangers, and he would make the coolest samples that your mom would like recommend shit, right?
Yeah. So, man, how deep are we into this? Like,
It don't matter.
time. Because you're doing Cliff Notes a little bit. Like, there's obviously a lot more to the story.
There's so much more to the
we
story.
could talk literally hours about this.
It's
and
right now it's 2 a.m, which is like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So Marcus lives in Florida. He lives in Orlando.
Yeah.
He's in LA for a Madden shoot or something. So he's out here for a couple days shooting some shit. And we were just on set because I just flew drones for a movie, a fucking Nick Cannon film. I don't know. Him and Chris Brown were in this movie. I just flew drones. Your boy got a credit in the movie. Yeah. Another one. Yeah. But Marcus came and met me on set, and then we came here, and he was like about to fucking bail on this shit because he's like, dog, I gotta be up at 6 a.m.
Nah, but you know.
We said if it was trash, we weren't gonna post it, but I love this.
This is going good. This is going good.
Spewing shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's always deep within me. This is stuff I'd like to talk about every day.
No.
But
subscribe to his podcast.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, go on. Like,
Sure.
so you used, as far as music went, you were so fucking crafty with this shit and made such fucking good music. And then when you left, it was really hard for us because I was thinking I was starting a group with you with Bai, and then you were like, I'm out.
So this is the lesson that you were like, oh, we'll come back to that, and I'll talk about it now. So, but there's a little bit of context. So, I'm done playing baseball. I've worked my entire life to do it. Like, I'm 24, 25. Literally, cared about school. Obviously, same electronic media, like film-oriented program. You and we did the same. And so I had that in my back pocket. But I did it because in the back of my mind, I always liked to create things. Like, I'd been making music for a while. My grandfather, got remarried, and his wife, actually, her daughter married El DeBarge, which, on the rhythm of the night, like that. And so,
Wait, what?
yeah, we'll try. We could go deeper into that. But basically, there's always been this thread for like music. My mom loves music. I grew up with it. The family, my entire family's always been deep around it. My mom and I share music like all the time.
Right.
And I grew up every single day on Sundays. We had a cleaning day where we'd clean the house, and my mom would play just all this different music. She had a room full of just records.
Tight.
Like CDs and also just like vinyl. And it was like the who's who of, 50s, 60s, it's like 70s soul. Yeah. Well, it's 70s soul isn't really it, but 50s, 60s soul. Right. And so I grew up listening to all this, like these sounds, and I started to like fall in love with certain colors of sound that were used to deliver certain types of emotion. Because I think that 80s and 90s, to me, like, sure, like 80s, I was too young to really remember, but like from what I know of the 80s and 90s, it was a weird time for music. It was like it turned to like grunge and like our alternative into like pop, and it started to get away from maybe like actual like storytelling in the art form of music.
Yeah.
And I'm generalizing. I'm not calling out specific. There's obviously some areas of that, but if you go back and look at the top 100s, they're like very like poppy. There isn't really substance to it. They just have maybe like a good progression of chords that are pleasing to the ear. You could say even the same thing about some of the hip hop music today. It's like it all kind of, there isn't really a message there. It just kind of has like something catchy about it. But I kind of fell in love with this concept of music being a way to like really hit someone's emotional core. And so when I got done playing baseball, it's like 25 years of my life, like well, not 25, but whatever, 20 years, like, what do you do now? Or I'm at school, needed to fill that huge void with something that I could, put effort into. And I went through this like minor stage of like a little bit of depression, because it's like you realize you worked your entire life for a thing that isn't going to happen, and then you're just like what is life? And
Yeah.
And so I went through this like minor depression period, like really like kind of a like emotional awakening, because I realized that there's more to life than just to play a sport. And I always like to create. I always cared about the arts. I always cared about music, and I found myself binge listening all this music that I grew up to, because it made me feel like I was connecting to something that I had lost.
Right.
And then I started to really attach myself to and create stories based off of my experiences. And there are some songs where I remember exactly the first time I heard them, or I was, my mom and dad are driving me to a baseball tournament in Montana, and the first time I heard a song. And it was like cool to me to be able to then take that song and like capture that and make it into something that would then be the baseline for another story that could be told in a different way. And so that first 20, 30 songs that you guys heard, they weren't just like samples. They were they're all like moments in time. They were captured for me. It even gets me kind of emotional to think about it.
Yeah.
Because it was so weird, because each one had its own specific story.
Right.
That was really took me back to a certain time. And so it's funny, because I named all of the songs. Specific to the emotion, and to the the specific feeling that I had, and then you guys wrote about it.
Isn't that crazy?
It's 100% wild. And so that's why that's why it makes me feel emotional about it, because it's the true vision of seeing something go from nothing to idea on the napkin to actually something that's alive, and you can still go listen to it today. And
Which
so
is crazy, because
super cool.
And we were just talking about this shit, and the way he would sample his music, and how you said my dad just texted me about what did he text you about?
He sent me he just sent me a text, and he's like, hey, what sample did you use for Nighttime? And I don't even remember. I'd have to think about it, because but I just don't remember. But I remember that specific song I made at 3 a.m.
That's fucking
That's
crazy.
why I call
Yeah. And Nighttime was like the fucking first song
Yeah.
that we ever made as our hip hop group Schooled.
Yeah.
Like I think we had an acoustic version of it. That might be the
Yeah.
only thing that's on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So, but anyways, so, like those songs had like a deeper meaning than anything
Yeah.
like I've probably created in quite a while.
And I knew that
So?
it meant that much to you, and it was sitting on a fucking drive, and I was like, no shot.
Yeah.
No shot. And what was also crazy, which was cool because I love like through your family sharing this music to you, then you were sharing it with me, which I would have never have found this music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would sit there and listen to your beats and be like, damn, this shit's tight. You would take like Michael Jackson song and be like, never can say goodbye, never can. And you'd sample that shit and it just bang. And then he'd throw his beats to it and I'd be like, oh shit. And then, that's a terrible example. Let's say songs that I wouldn't know if any of them are the artists or whatever.
That was probably the most well-known one.
Yeah.
The rest of them were like, seriously, my mom played jazz like Donald Byrd and Marvin Gaye a little bit, but you know, like Donald Byrd and like John Luke Ponty. Just so many that you're just like, who is that? Like,
but and then when I worked valet,
yeah,
I was telling you this. I work valet at an event center, and these old people would come in, and I'd have to valet their cars, and I'd be sitting there. They'd be listening to this oldies channel, and I'd hear the original. And as soon as I heard it, it did what it did for you. It brought me right to where we were. We were making that music. I got like instantly stoked, like, oh shit, this is where it came from, dog. Like, this is the song. I just like sit in their car and just listen to the whole record. Just like, damn. And it's cool because we played that music in front of like thousands of people in our career.
yeah,
And it was dope too because then Marcus he does this thing in Colorado.
Oh, that's the next part of the story.
Yeah, but he did get to come back. There was like a time where he had come back.
So we can talk about that now. So
Yeah.
So we make this obviously. And so sidebar, I was gonna say this to you. We were eating sushi the other night. Whenever I would like to be the one, if possible, to interview you for your podcast.
Okay.
So
Want to start right now? Switch this shit
but
in the
we
middle.
switch it, and then you do yourself.
Yeah.
I would love to do that just because I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people that know you pretty well, but I feel like I know you quite well.
Yeah, we go back.
Yeah. But anyways, so where was I going with this?
Basically after school and after music, because you had a job.
Yes. So we made this. So All That Matters.
All That Matters. Damn, that was our first EP.
That was first. So after that, like, just the amount of support, the amount of just local recognition, and like I said before, just that concept of these are songs that have been sitting on a hard drive for years. Like there's some songs that are on that album I made like 4 or 5 years before.
For sure.
Sitting there.
Yeah.
Probably never get heard. But anyway, so after that's over, there's just like this sense of momentum and like, dude, we're gonna do this. Like we're gonna make it. Like this is, like we've got the sound, we've got the passion, we've got all of this, we've got the time, and then the grind starts. But like real life sets in. Mm-hmm. And this is the lesson that, we talked about the other day that you'll say, like, we expected to not just walk step by step from California to Florida. We expected to, be Usain Bolt sprint there. And because we weren't running 4.240s, we thought we were failing and losing, or not going to make it. And so we held on, and you held on the longest, as long as possible. But it did get to the point where, it was like, I gotta go do real life, and I think I was first to be like, will this actually, like, I gotta, make money, gotta go chase my dreams, gotta go try and do more.
Well, and your shit came very early because you were already, think about it, you were already out of college. We were still in college.
Yep.
We're formulating this group. as like almost a college hip hop group. You know what I mean? Because that was the only demographic we could play to.
Sure.
And you were working in Iowa, quit that job and moved to Colorado to like pursue a job. And that was like at the very beginning. Like all that matters was just getting started.
So it was right after like All That Matters was done, and then the tours were and like the shows were starting.
We started playing shows, and Marcus like, hey, I gotta go. And that shit fucked me up because I'm like, no, dog, like this shit is what we needed to do. Like we needed to do this, and you're like, but I gotta go. I was like,
yeah,
fuck.
And you know, like it's you know, I wouldn't say gave up. It was just like it was a hobby.
It definitely at that time was very much because it became full time for us at that point. Like full time as in the sense of like we still have jobs, we're still in school, et cetera, et cetera. But like to us, it was like this is live, breathe, eat, dream, sleep. This is it. And
it's hard to you know dedicate.
But you go out and have this is the craziest part. This is the segue into where EA comes into it. But he goes out to Colorado.
Yeah.
Bust ass with these startup companies, has like very like sick jobs for a second, and didn't both of the two companies like fold your department or something where you ended up like the job would go away and you went and got another job, and at one point I remember you
so the startup scene in Denver is, you know, just volatile in nature. Like your P&L, which is your profits and losses, is like, you know, in the red. And so you have like startup capital and it's $250K and you lose money every month, and then you make money to hopefully elongate that. But until you can show profitability and then get investor like venture capital, it's a really struggle.
Yeah.
And so, you know, every entrepreneur out there that wants to start their own business and they don't have a substantial amount of money to start, to organize, is already in downhill battle, because like you're struggling just to stay afloat, because you're losing money, and you don't need deals or gigs to make money. You need it to continue to exist. And so, but yeah, so I went, so we left, but it was all about like, all right, now I got to go pursue a dream, because
and you had
making
Kayla
music,
at the time. Were you guys? Did you already get engaged to her at the time? No, yeah. But you guys were fucking super serious and shit. So she leaves. You guys go to Colorado, and you get your first job was the company. You did what? You like was it selling? Like you guys were like designing websites or pitching?
Yeah. So it was all apps in the area of. So it's funny to look back at it now. It was all early digital website, apps, social.
Yeah. Before that was like
Before
fucking
it was
WordPress and Wix and shit like that. Like
100% way before that. Like this is 2009, 2010, something like
probably
that.
2010.
Yeah, around there. You know, ahead of its time, but you know, like by this time, you know, there's you guys are doing multiple shows, and you know, Our Way Monday is kicking off.
We did a video every Monday and a song.
Yeah,
Write a song
way
and
before
make a
its
video.
time. Like, you know, like I remember sitting in your bed in your room talking about making like more. Like, okay, we got the music videos, but like, are we going to be making anything else outside of that? It was like honestly like early vlogs.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
There wasn't really, that didn't exist yet.
But we were kind of doing it. Like anytime we go to a show, we'd make recap videos, and that was what we thought it was. But we weren't building the right audience, I guess, in that format. But
it was just before its time. The behavior on YouTube is different then. You can even make money. Like it wasn't even, there's no concept of it being a job.
Never.
Or a potential career. And like, you know, when it's, you don't know if music's going to pan out.
yeah.
You just, you know, it's like, all right, time to get on with life. We're trying to, you know, do it. And it's, you know, it was, look back in it, and it was a tough decision. It was not cool, like not easy. It's hard to say what if, because, you know, things came back around a little bit, but definitely it is something interesting. Like what would happen if we just never stopped and kept grinding it, found a way.
Right.
Like hell, technology now, find a way.
Fuck yeah, listen to Oliver Francis' podcast.
Yeah.
One video every month, and the
That is
motherfucker blew up.
crazy. Like, that's so crazy.
But okay, so you hit these
Yeah.
you get these jobs, they both fold because they're running out of money, right?
And so so doing that, and then like this is when, and so I mentioned this on one of my podcasts too. This was the first time where my first moment of like clarity and self-awareness. I found myself like being a little bit more like struggling to like find purpose and like find solitude or happiness from some things. And I found that there was two things that would only make me happy. And, you know, for everybody that's different, but for me it was
Bitches and money,
no.
cars and clothes. I'll never
Like
be serious.
Kayla, like my wife,
Okay.
and video games. And so, and the reason why was my wife took my mind off of it and made me think differently. And video games allowed me not to think anything at all. And so I'm a person that overthinks constantly. I'm always thinking. I have ADD. I know you do too. Like always thinking of ideas. Looking at everything gives me an idea for everything. But crazily, when I play video games, one of the only activities I can do where I don't think about anything. It's fascinating to me. I don't know why, but that's just the way my brain is. And so I don't even know if I actually like to play games. I only like it because it allows me to turn off my brain.
Yeah, it's just something to, a stress reliever almost, like instantly freezes you in time. That's why I like being asleep.
Yeah.
That's fine. Getting asleep is hard.
And so I realized, like, okay, this is something I actually have somewhat of a passion about because, like, sure, everyone plays games to some capacity, but games was the thing that was there for me when maybe nothing else was. In the past, my time was always so jam-packed. I never had downtime, for Christ's sake. I told you the schedule for baseball. Never had downtime.
Ever.
And, then I get into work and attention's diverted and I'm just making a bunch of stuff. And then, now we get into this, spot and I'm getting stressed out because of all right, we're losing money all the time. Are we going to even have a place to live? And then a month and, oh, wow, did we move out to Colorado? Was that a stupid idea? Like all those things, super stressful.
Yeah, left a decent job back home, like all this shit.
Yeah, super
music,
stressful.
Job.
Totally. And so, played video games for a time, but then realized like this is interesting. And so now I had an opportunity, and so I say failure, like with failure, like things here and there comes opportunity. I had an opportunity to like reinvent myself a little bit. And the three things kind of just like literally like felt like it was like fell in front of me. I remember this very specific moment. I'm sitting in the bedroom in Colorado, and I'm like sitting at my desk, and I had my computer in front of me, and I was listening to music, and I was playing NCAA football. And I'm playing it, and I don't remember the song that was playing exactly, but I believe it was The Good Life by Kanye at the time. I think it was. I'm not sure. And the game seemed to sync up with the music. And like in that moment, I was like, wait a minute. The three things that I really, really like to do come together. Play games, music, listen to music, good music, create music or versions of it, and make videos. And so I found myself in the position where I was like, wow, I have a uniqueness to fuse three things together to make something completely new. And that's where the opportunity to me jumped out. And it was all based off of a time code instance where that seemed to like the hit, like 2 hits happened in synchronicity with the beats. And I was like, wow, that was kind of dope. And I was like, wait a minute. Would videos be dope? Like, would videos be good to like music? Like highlight video games.
Yeah, highlight
music.
videos. Was that the first thing you did?
It's the very first thing I did. They're still up on my channel right now. The very first videos I did were highlight videos of video games cut to music.
I remember you being gone, and it was hard to get a hold of you because you were so fucking busy with these companies, and we'd be trying to like hit you up for music advice and stuff, and it would be impossible to get. And at the time when I introduced this podcast, I said Markus Frieske, aka Marcus Aurelius, because that's his like code name that he went by. His stage name was Marcus Aurelius. Look him up.
Yeah.
Look up the original Marcus
The
Aurelius.
original, yeah.
But when at the time I remember trying to get, some Marcus Aurelius beats, we were trying to get on, get that fire shit, and it was impossible to get a hold of you. And then randomly I see you post online like, oh, I won this like tournament or something. Like he's talking about gaming. At the time, gaming on YouTube was not a thing, right? He just talked about how he was like creating these highlight videos to music off of games. And it was so confusing, but I remember like being like, damn, all right, we can't get Marcus to work on his music, but he's like playing video games, I think on YouTube or on Facebook or something like that. It didn't make sense. And it was like irritating almost because I'm like, come on, fucking answer my shit. And you were over there, come up with some next level shit at the time, which ultimately got you, because I like telling the story. You could tell me if I'm wrong because I always tell people this shit, but at the point, he's at his lowest point, the final month, has no money, is trying to figure out like,
you said that before. You said that to me.
Fuck, I'm about to be broke, and like, what was this all for nothing?
It wasn't that dramatic. You go ahead.
No, let's let it be. And then he's driving home, almost runs out of gas. No, it wasn't that bad. But he was in a tough spot, and he's sitting there trying to support his girl and whatnot. And I remember you were going to come back and live at her parents' house in Iowa. Wasn't that kind of the case? And you were almost driving home and got a call like, yo, if you come to Florida right now, you have a job. Kayla like went to Iowa.
Yeah, you love to make this like story. It's a feel good story.
No, that's like what happened.
It's not what happened, but somewhat similar. So
yeah, what happened? All right.
Yeah, so we're out there. It's a grind to we're barely like we're living comfortably, but like frugally comfortably, and like. There's this concept of like, man, how much longer can this go on? Like this is 2-3 years, things aren't popping like we hoped it would be. But this is a year and a half in the game of me making like video game videos. And EA had took notice by this time because I had been creating stuff on YouTube, but also they were getting posted on a couple different forum sites, Operation Sports, Tradition Sports Online. Those are like more common sports, like gaming sites. And so get known locally within those two areas. And then that led me to getting kind of connection at Electronic Arts, and saw my stuff and what I could do. And they were like, back then, like social was still not a thing, which is crazy to think about it. YouTube was like, it wasn't like, even then I'm thinking about this. Like I remember I think I have an NCAA video on my channel I posted in 2010. It has 40,000 views, 50,000 views. And back then I was like, there's no concept of like making this career. Who wants to watch gaming videos? I'm just doing it for fun. I'm just doing it because I'm creating something of the three things that I love, that I like, and it's something to kill time. It became, I'm able to escape just playing games, but then it became, I'm able to escape, but also create through the things that I like to make, instead of just making music only or just making videos only, I was able to merge these things together. And so that basically got me the attention. And so specific lesson there is, it really is like, you do the job you want, not the one you have.
Yeah, that's fucking true.
And so I was making video game YouTube videos. And so when the time come, hey, we need someone that can help us do this. We see that you've been doing it for years. People like and respect you, know who you are. We'll bring you in, meet you, talk to you, see if you're an actual competent human being or just some bum.
Crackhead.
Yeah, or just some weird dude that, but
Right.
it wasn't the case. Got in, and then, it was getting to the point where it's like, got to figure out what to do. Like, we got to make a decision. Like, we hoped that at this point in time, had a hunch that there might be an opportunity from EA, but we didn't know when it would come. And, it'd been talked to, well, it might come here for Texas. Oh, no, maybe not. And so it's like hard to plan and think. And so we're just kind of giving up a little bit. And so the concept was, okay, well, if this isn't going to work out, maybe just move back to Iowa. It wasn't move back to our parents' house. It was go back to Iowa, maybe admit a little bit of defeat. The failed experiment didn't work as well going to Colorado. And in like one of the final months before we were like planning to kill the lease, EA called and offered me a job.
Crazy.
And so it was like instant change. Then packed up the stuff, did go to Iowa, and then I went down to Florida. And then Kayla stayed with her parents for a few months. But it was a crazy year. They always say that, so in Hispanic culture, they always say when you turn, I think it's when you turn 30, I don't know, what was it? Doesn't like when you turn 30, it's supposed to be a magical year or something like that. Like crazy stuff is supposed to happen, or something like that. And so, for me, I can't remember how old I was specifically. I wasn't 30, but for me, like that was besides recently having a daughter, like that was like the year of like the birth of M. Frieske, like who I am today. Because it's proposed to Kayla, got married, got a job offer to EA, moved to Florida, and like never turned back to like no regrets. It was just like it seemed like everything fell into place, and it was what it's supposed to be. Everything felt right, weirdly, which it seemed to be a huge risk, obviously, or huge different. Like, you got to move, and maybe I think Kayla maybe felt that way, but like deep down, I didn't feel like that at all.
Right.
I was like, perfect. Finally, I'm here. 5 years from now, I'll be running this company. That was literally my attitude. Obviously
you climbed a fucking ladder.
Yeah. So I came in. I accepted a entry level position. I was okay with, coming in and like, what, I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to show that I have a vision.
Is the person that hired you still there?
No, he's at Nestle now.
At Nestle?
Yeah, he's a VP of digital at Nestle.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. Good friend of mine.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then what,
yeah.
What the next few years, what's that span like for you? Aggressive, I guess, climbing the ladder and trying to get that position that you were talking about. I want to run this company.
So before that, like when we talked about like, I say phase one of like my awareness. And so Pharrell actually, he has this like amazing quote that I want to frame someday. And it was in that video, where he's talking to that girl, I forgot her name, Maggie, that did that Alaska song, where he listened to it. And so he goes to this music school, and she plays this song for him, and he's like, wow, like that was nuts. And then she went viral, and then she went big from it.
I'll have to look it up.
I have to look it up. It's in the show notes.
I'll post it in the show notes.
Anyways,
If I remember.
in that, he says to her, he goes, and this is where the first hint of like being an icon like started to like interest me.
Yeah.
He said, what I just heard was incredible, because a lot of people run into these issues. A lot of creators and artists run into these issues because they try and be somebody else. But they don't realize that there was a person who created chocolate and it was delicious. And there was a person who created peanut butter and it was delicious. But then someone made the Reese's and that man's a billionaire.
Hell yeah.
And so, like that quote, I feel like is what it means to be an icon. It is to find this, like the unique things that you really, really like passionately love and to blend them together, to speak your truth, to be you, to find the experiences and things you love and like find a way to make them work. And so for me, the first time was, okay, I have a unique love and background for music. I love to, make videos, went to school for it. And video games is like something that I feel like I can escape. Those three things independently are things I will do. If someone asked me to do them all day, every day, I would do it.
Hell yeah.
I would love to do it. And to bring them together was like a really unique, like niche type of way to like really like kind of operate against the things that I really cared about. And like that's where that whole concept of like being an icon comes. And so for everybody listening, like really try and think, what are the things that you really, really love? And is there a way to combine them? I guarantee there is. And to be honest, if you see that there's nobody doing it, that's even better. Like I think about like what a lot of people talk about like Casey Neistat and like what he's done to vlogging. He took, honestly, the same concept. He took this concept of reality television and like YouTube and merged it with film. And so he took something completely new. He made something completely new and different based off of the things that he cared about. And then made a bunch of clones. And when you think about like people that are iconic, that set a movement, that's usually what they do. They find things that are completely new, blend them together, fuse them together to make something also completely new and revolutionizes like where we're at in a certain way that, that medium or genre is like characterized by. And so for everyone that posts, a video that looks like yours or a video that looks like Casey Neistat's in the black with no cream, group chat, really think about, are you trying to create something that you think looks good or you think people will think it looks good? And try and articulate from yourself. I've realized that even myself too. The things I like to create, the way I like to create, I like cut to music, like heavily influenced by music. I start with music first, actually. Secondly, I like a very specific pairing of shots from basically wide to close. I don't know. I like being able to go from close up to wide. I feel like it tells a good story that brings people in. And then drone shots here and there, just if they look good, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But more from a cinematic standpoint. And then also, I like voiceovers from documentaries. And so everything I make.
I know. I was just going to say that all bleeds through in your videos. Which there's a great fucking transition because you do start, you've had your channel and then you started a second channel. So in your first channel, it was cool because you were like, yo, I'm going to make like short documentaries of just something that happens. So
that was that was actually the second channel. The first channel is M.Frisk channel.
True.
Because that's how EA found me. Because of gaming videos. But I didn't want gaming videos to just be the definition of me. And so I made the second one that's just like my channel, just me, my name. And then, just like you said, I wanted to be able to challenge myself. I think and I think Andrew said it, and this is why I was like, my man. He said it on the podcast. He said, test how good of a storyteller you are by trying to tell a story without dialogue. And so I always wanted to get better and be better at visual storytelling. And so the first, 5 to 10 videos I made were no dialogue. It was all just shots and music. And can I draw the emotion and tell the story that I want only with that? Partly because I thought it was really interesting and I wanted to challenge myself, but like also didn't like the sound of my voice.
Yeah, I know that was a big struggle for you.
Yeah, it was an insecurity that I held back for quite a long time.
Yeah, I was pissed when you told me that because I'm like, dog, just shut up and talk, bro, because it's shit's tight. But you did, and you started making these like very cool and inspirational videos. Like my favorite one was, and maybe it was your first one, was your baseball story.
Yeah.
And you made like a really cool, quick cinematic video where you talked about baseball.
Yep.
And that shit was fucking sick, and that channel was sick. And what you post on there is really inspirational. And then at the same time, you're also growing this gaming channel and now have like tested it to prove that it's possible to gain a following by just committing yourself and delivering content. And even sometimes you're like, yo, it takes me an hour. I spend an hour out of my day.
That's the thing I tell everyone. There's two things I'll say. An hour a day for the rest of your life is the thing. Like, try and commit to create something for an hour a day, and you might not finish it, but I think it's really interesting, this concept of like, if you speak your truth, share your experiences, like do you and not try and be somebody else. And if you do it for an hour a day and you start it and you end it, and no matter where it's at, you just end it and post it, I guarantee you'll get to where exactly you want to get.
For sure.
Because at first, it is not about how perfect your stuff is. It's about, are you doing it and getting better? Like, are you learning? Are you finding mistakes? Are you getting inefficiencies? Are you, hey, I want to know how to speed ramp. I don't know how to speed ramp. And then you go figure out how to do it, but then you're learning a new skill, and then you're testing yourself to do it over and over. And then it's just the practice at first is the most important thing, the repetition. It's not only until later that when you start actually getting feedback from like not people that you know, friends, family, but like random people, that you can actually like start to make stuff that I think is impactful, because it's tough to get like true feedback from people sometimes. But yeah, so that's
where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years?
It's a great question. So for me, I think it's off of one insight. So I think 5 to 10 years from now, actually 10 years from now, this will be a fact. Everybody in the world will be a creator, because everybody in the world has grown up most of their life with their phone. They will have been on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, and maybe they're on YouTube for a lot of their life. The creators that will exist in 10, 15 years from now will be better than any of us by far, because they will have had then 10,000 hours in before they've even hit college.
Crazy.
And some of those people won't even know what they want to do with their life yet. That's what's really interesting, because then what will happen is kind of, and I'll go back to what Casey's done for vlogs and what Gary Vee's done for entrepreneurs. Someone will do it for the first dentist vlogger or creator, the first teacher, a creator, the first, like, and it's not just someone that will do it and they have a local following. I'm talking an icon.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone to like stand out and be the guy or the girl that really popularizes it and propels it into, mainstream culture. Like, it's just going to happen. Every profession is going to have some form of creator associated with it, and they will spawn a whole new set of creators that like our clones, that many clones that want to be with them because they have a passion for the same things that they have a passion for.
So how do you fit into that world?
So how do I fit in that world? I believe I have that opportunity. And I've said this to you before about my specific, what I'm preparing everything I'm doing for. I am one of the only people in the entire games industry that actually is a creator myself that got here the way I have got, still do it currently, and like have a story to tell. I'm slowly like testing like the limitations of me personally. I have like a lot of the knowledge and information on what to do. The technology, obviously, the skill to be able to do it. It's just time and the plan.
Yeah.
And so, for me, and to put it loosely, the opportunity for me is to be someone to be iconic and propel what it means to be a creator in the entertainment industry into a more specific like notable stance, because my story is unique. My story is interesting. It's relatable, and anyone can do it.
Hell yeah.
Like, I mean, anyone can do it. Like, it's...
Nah, I fuck with that. We had made... I just want to highlight these moments before I forget them. There was a time when we were in college, or you were in college, I was in high school, and Apple created a film festival. And I think I might have talked about this with Tim Dodd in our earlier podcast. But it was hilarious because we wanted to enter this film festival that Apple put on where you could win MacBook Pros and all this shit, whatever. The prize was sick. And so you had to make like a short film using all these little specific things. And we made a short film called Robin Goes to College. Mm-hmm. And it is terrible if you watch it now.
So cringe. I can't believe we thought it was so good, too.
We thought it was amazing. At the time, Marcus had like access to the university. We were able to check out the cameras that they had there. They had like the JVC, like, I don't even know the models.
Oh, God.
The DV tapes that they look like skate cams. They were fucking sick. And I thought it was just like, oh my God, I have access to all this shit. And we made Robin Goes to College. And Marcus played the role of the...
like this attendant.
What's that shit called? Where you live in the dorm? Like,
I don't even know.
You're like a student, but you are in charge of the dorm floor. But he like walks in and he's on there. But we lost. But that's another L that you have to take. Plan on next year. Then they don't throw the contest the next year because they probably realize how much money they lost on product that they were giving out for free. But we did that, which was sick. We made music together, which was sick. And we've made fucking videos now, like global, like million views plus.
Yeah, I think so to talk about that, like, it's funny. Like there's, like I never, and I think maybe the way I took it lightly, like when I moved, like I never was like, oh, this is the end. I'm never going to work with Ben again. Never thought that ever. I always knew that we would come back together in some way, shape, or form. I just didn't know how. And so it is kind of like weird to me. I was literally talking about that with Bud today, and he was like, oh, how do you know Ben? And I was like, well, we did a ton of stuff together, and then we went like separate ways to try and make it, and then ironically it's bringing us now back into the same space. The paths are colliding back again, and you might look at it and be like, oh, we should have never, but now
added up to
now the amount, I think collectively, like the about, like, sure, they're colliding back together, but like the amount of connections and networking that individually we have, or even like the amounts of experiences we have are like they're not, like, they don't overlap.
Right.
They're completely
it's crazy.
different. So it's really interesting to me. But yeah, I think I said this the other night, but I want the schooled reunion. I want to return. Got to get by. If you're listening, by, and
Nate and Chuck and fucking Mars and the whole band. That'd be tight. Mm-hmm. I think our last show that we played together was we played with Chance the Rapper. That was sick at Ames University. And then I think the last show we really played together was the Hub, the local venue in our town, closed down. So we played like the final show, one of the final shows, second to last show, I think. Fucking sold it out, made it lit, and then that shit closed. And then, yeah, one by one, it's just, you know, real life comes for someone and you have to knock on it. And I just wasn't ready to make that happen. And I was cool with living the way I was living, which was in my parents' basement with making money when I needed it by shooting videos. And
I would have been 100% too if I wasn't for Kayla, to be honest. There's part of me that would just wonder that, like, all right, would I even have left? Like, because I probably would have been cool, like, just kind of trying to push as long as possible. But it's a little bit different when you got to, like, think about life long term. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to tell.
It's crazy.
I wouldn't even know.
I want to ask you questions.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
So just in case people don't listen to this, the private group, which you're a member of, Black with No Cream.
Yep.
I basically tried to post about you prior and told people that they could ask you whatever they wanted to fucking ask you. So let's see what we got. Riley Lupin says, yeah. And then he says, I think you should play some old Marcus Aurelius. Pretty sure I fucked up how he spells it. Beat.
Yeah.
And then he did the praise sign.
Yep.
Maybe I'll end this. Normally I end it with a different beat, but I'll play it. Maybe I'll play some Marcus. Shit.
So here I was doing some cleaning a couple months ago, and I came across my old iPod. It has every single beat I've ever made on it.
Damn.
It's the last remnant of all of that, and I'm just like,
I got hard drives with all the shit that you sent me.
Oh, you do?
I
Okay.
definitely got that shit
All right.
saved. You should extract it from that iPod
I know,
before
I
it
need
fucking
to.
fails, because they never work for me when I found my old iPods.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he's got mad music. You can find it too if you look hard enough.
dude, throw some of them tracks on this
That'd be
podcast.
tight. I fucking will. Parker Nyquist says, "No man."
Yeah, old Park.
Shout out to Parker. Ronnie Hurst, he says, Marcus, 1, you have to eat all food for the rest of your life with one condiment: mustard, mayonnaise, or ketchup. Which is funny. We were just talking about ketchup.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be ketchup, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like condiments at all. I would say 0 condiments if I had a choice.
Fucking weirdo.
I know.
Hot sauce?
No. I'll do ketchup if I have to.
Okay. Ketchup is the answer. You have an uncanny ability to understand how the landscape of social platforms and marketing are changing. What are some things people can do to attempt to stay educated in these fields? This is also from Ronnie.
Sure. Okay. That's a good question.
That was a good question.
Yeah, great question. It's going to sound so silly to say this. Like incredibly silly to say this. But be a consumer. Like, be aware of what you're doing in your life. Like, what do you pay attention to? What do you not pay attention to? What are you doing when a commercial gets on television? What do you do? What do you think? Look, answer that for me.
iPhone X is coming out. I'm like, cool, I'm going to pre-order that bitch. What's new about the iPhone X? No idea.
Well, sure. You could say that if you're actually like grabbing what they're saying.
Oh, no, when a regular commercial comes on, like just fucking getting on Instagram.
Exactly, your phone.
Yeah.
So why would, as a marketer, as a brand, why would you even spend millions of dollars on that
Commercial?
when everyone looks here?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean. Like, so in terms of social, like be curious and understand what you're doing as a person. And so I think about the things that have attention right now, like people are spending time on Instagram, Twitter, not as much Twitter, but Instagram, YouTube, but also Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Twitch, Periscope, that type of stuff. And you'll start to, those are obviously the main ones, but every now and then you'll hear about something that's, kind of coming. It's just like, it'll pique your interest.
Right.
You'll have some sort of story about it. And what I do is I'll jump into it and I'll try and like really digest it and then try and think really like objectively, what are the pros and cons of this thing? Like, would people use it? Why would they not use it? And so I'll give you 2 examples. So Anchor, which you're aware of, I've never seen an app like Anchor before. It's like the Instagram of micro podcasting. When I started to use it, it doesn't have the massive attention yet, but I started to use it and I was like, this has potential. Like, this could be it. And I didn't really get on it. I just kind of had it. You talked about, Scotty has on there.
Perspective.
And then, always plug.
Yeah, always plug.
And then I heard that Anchor got like a couple million in venture capital. And I was like, okay, it's time now, which means that they hit their first benchmark to be able to get funding, which means that they're showing progress and success. And they're now going to use that money to make it better, but also to market it. And so my initial thought was like, okay, just like stock, you buy in when it's low and you hope it rises high. And so I've made somewhat of a living trying to buy in low on everything and try and ride the wave to get high. One of the first on Vine, you were too, but we gave up. Another problem.
Yeah.
One of the first on YouTube, we gave up. Problem there. Instagram, one of the first on Instagram, saw the value of it, gave up.
Crazy.
We'll be damned if we'll let that happen to us again. And so if you see value in something and you feel like you're getting in, it's really difficult to like commit and be like, all right, go hard at this, like make it work, because you're not seeing the return yet. But it's like a snowball. It's like those steps. You could walk one day and you'd be like, I'm nowhere. But then, 3-4 months down the road, you're like, wow, I've actually left the state of California. And you're like, wow, I'm making progress.
Yeah.
And it won't feel like anything's happening until it happens. And that's unfortunately what people miss out on.
Right, for sure.
And the people that are crazy enough to think or love it so much are the ones that benefit. Like, I mean, I asked Rudy and Batch about that, and they were just like, oh, it's great. Like, there was never a concept about not doing it because it was like an easy way to make something.
On Vine and shit. Yeah.
Vine was an easy way to make something. Like, it wasn't, hey, make a long video, a YouTube video with tons of editing.
Which some of them were. Batch was doing that prior to Vine.
He was doing prior. But it also wasn't like, it was the perfect format for them. It removed all excuses. You had to do all the editing in the phone. It was only 6 seconds. It was like, you have to be completely lazy to not.
Yeah, just to not do it.
To not do this. And, like, as long as you have the talent, of course,
absolutely.
which they had.
They do have.
And then it obviously evolved over time. But yeah, so I think something like that's interesting. So when you're looking at social networks, are people using it? Does it have attention? Use it yourself. Do you see it working or not? Is there pros or there cons? And honestly, if you believe in it and then you're buying low, commit.
Fuck yeah. And
Because
play
if
the
you
long
don't-
game.
Yeah, play the long game. And it's going to get exhausting. There's going to be a world where you're like, damn, I got to post to Musical.ly, Snapchat, Instagram stories, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and this new app.
Right.
But like, that's the grind. That's the hustle. Like I said, it's the race to 100K.
Yeah, he's been saying that.
It's every creator's on a race to 100K. It's do whatever you can on as many channels as you can, and then the first one you get to 100K, dump everything into that, and it will fuel the rest of the channels.
Yep.
But until you get there, there just isn't enough there. And so for me, like, yeah, it's like I got 2 Twitter accounts, 2 Instagram accounts, on Anchor, on Snapchat, on Musical.ly, 2 YouTube accounts.
A fucking family, a child,
And
a full-time
and
job.
And you cannot, like, you got to have this evergreen strategy to the way that you create, where you create one source and then that has a way to then permeate to everything else. So if YouTube's your main thing, then you want to highlight for stories, swipe up.
Yeah.
You want to then take maybe a still thumbnail off for Twitter or a funny screen grab or make a meme out of it.
Right.
Like when you lose, whatever. For Snapchat, maybe you want to document like, long night editing, checking me, I'm almost done with this edit. Part of your story. Like there's a way to, you just got to like know that you have a central piece of content that then fuels everything else. And it makes it so much easier.
No, fuck yeah. I completely
But if you
agree.
try and create an individual piece of content for each, you will lose.
Yep.
So
Play the long game. Gavin Moody says, Marcus, what steps would someone take to get noticed by EA? How did you begin yours?
yeah, so we talked about today. It's do the job you want, not the one you have. Like I literally asked this to someone at work. They were like, specifically, I was like, would you hire Casey Neistat to be on the video team at EA? And everyone was like, yeah, no brainer. Why not? And I'm like, well, why? And they're like, I don't know, because he's got like 8 million subscribers and got millions of views. And I'm like, but there's people that create better content than him all over. So why? And they're like, well, like, what do you mean? We see his work. We know what he can do for us. We know what we're getting. And I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
That's it. Like creating, you're not just creating to like build a following, like build a brand, like it's like fulfill a personal desire. You're creating a body of work that someday, just like we talked about All That Matters, you're going to be able to look at your kids and be like, I made this. And you think about all the videos that like anyone could make. Here's a body of work that someone can point to and be like, this is what I've done for my life or in my career or in this time frame. And that speaks volumes because it shows dedication, consistency, passion, talent, and like growth.
Super growth.
You see the first terrible video, you see the recent epic film, and you somewhat get to relive that journey with that person, and you just naturally you feel like you know who that is.
Right.
And so people don't like to take risks, especially in the corporate world. EA does not like to take risks. The interview process is always challenging everywhere, and sometimes people have the job before they even like come in to get interviewed based off of what they've actually done.
Yeah.
And so to get noticed is to just do
every day. Keep creating.
every day.
Fuck yeah.
If you want to work for Red Bull, do the work that Red Bull's doing every single day. They'll find you.
For sure, 100%.
It's just the way it is. Like you have a similar story. Like you just did what you wanted to be recognized for, and just like Andrew said, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready, and your portfolio is literally your social media channels.
Yeah.
And that's what if people don't think they get hired from that, they're crazy.
That's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah, like when we were was first getting you to work on stuff, I was like, Ben, send me your reel, and I was like, all right, this is Ben. Here's his reel. Here's the social stuff. Everyone's like, cool. All right, good. Looks good to me. There was no like I need to talk to him or anything. It was just like stuff looks dope. Whatever.
That was it.
People get hired from their online personas.
Yeah, aesthetic for sure. That's why I posted the Chris Brown video that I just did at his album release, and Donnie called me. He's like, "You're an influencer now. We're gonna have you come do this influencer thing at Venice." I'm like, "The fuck?"
Yeah.
I showed up with the least amount of subscribers on YouTube. You know what I mean? And I personally fucking love my video I made, but the lowest amount of views. Who gives a shit? The shit was tight.
Yeah.
This is this question. I don't want this to be the last one. Grayson Turner asks, ask about Skate 3.
He's talking about Skate 4. Skate 3 is current out. This is a common question everybody asks.
You don't even have to go into this one.
I honestly have no idea. Like, I'm not in the development team, so I don't even know.
Yeah, you have to ask the dev team.
Yeah.
I was refreshing Black with No Cream to see if there was new ones since I started, but I lost it. What is Hafrican?
Hafrican. So this is a good story. So when I went to college in California, a friend of mine, Jamie Miller, him and I are both half black, half white, and we were only two on the team like that. And like we like kind of bonded together, and randomly we're like someone was like in when you get into California, they're like, what are you? Are you like Hawaiian? Are you Hispanic? Like, what the hell are you? And we were like, oh, we're half black, half white. And it just got so redundant that we're just like, yeah, we're half African, we're Hafrican. And then it just became this thing that people thought was hilarious. Yeah. And they were like, oh, that's funny, it's funny. And so Jamie actually then got 2 T-shirts printed off as a joke because everyone thought we were the same person because they're racist.
That's hilarious.
And I still have it. And we both have it's Hafrican and number 1, number 2 on the back of the shirts.
That's fucking tight.
And so that's where that all started. And then it was like an interesting phrase that, was like, it's somewhat of the identity. It's stole for multiculturalism, really.
Yeah.
So
you ended up making shirts and shit. I would always get them in like double XL because I was so tight, and just wear African shirts around my white ass. And people are always like, "What the fuck is that shirt about?" And I'm like, "Oh, my friend's half white and half black, and I like this shirt." That shit was so tight. And you said it's all about the love movement,
which is another thing on multiculturalism. Like, so for me, growing up, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I had kids call me a wigger. I'm dead serious.
That's crazy.
But like, I don't know how to react as a young kid. Like, well, I don't even know what that is, but it's clearly not a good thing.
Right.
And I, so the love movement was all about like love people for who they are.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the way I was thinking about it then is the way that the world is now. Like self-expression, it's cool to be who you are, not to be somebody else.
Right.
That's what that was about. Love yourself for who you are. Love other people for who they are, not race, like sexual orientation, all of that.
Right.
Not because whatever they conform or whatever, And so that, like, I do believe one day it'll make a triumphant return. I wear it in a lot of my videos, and people all the time, like, yo, when's Hafrican's coming back? I want to buy a shirt.
Yep.
When is the Hafrican merch coming? Still.
It's fucking tight.
It'll make a comeback at just the right time.
Yeah.
It'll make the right time.
Well, shit, dude. We just hit 2 hours. Yeah. This is a good one.
It's good.
No, I fucking love this one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Usually, if we get pretty far in the podcast, which we always do because podcasts are long, I'll allow you to come up with a hashtag. So if anyone's listening right now, I want them to tweet at me and Marcus.
Hashtag dots. DOTS. Hashtag dots.
Hashtag dots. If you made it this far.
Yep.
Which you'll understand who that is if you start following and subscribe to Marcus's his gaming channel, and you can catch him talking about what game? 2K?
Primarily? No, definitely not 2K.
Or wait, the baseball one.
Just gaming in general.
Gaming in general.
Yeah.
But you kind of got your buzz off of the baseball game.
Yeah.
Which was what game?
MLB The Show.
MLB The Show, yeah.
But yeah, the crew is just called the Dots.
The Dots.
I didn't even come up with the name. They came up with it. That's what's cool
fans?
about it. So I definitely want to talk about that real fast.
Go for it.
Like, I literally just made this podcast, but I was making a video about it that I wanted to post from this trip. And it was like, all right, how do you create? How do you vlog? What are the three characteristics of vlogging? And because I was in Los Angeles, I said that vlogging is like going to Los Angeles. Or like people watch vlogs because just like they go to Los Angeles, they go to find something or escape from something.
Mm-hmm.
And they also want human connection. And the human connection is the part that like I want to talk about. I find that the most powerful thing that and this goes back to that whole concept of being a curator. Like I'm hanging multiple pieces of works of art in a museum for people to experience, and I get to see their reaction and get their live feedback. Right. But there's this weird dimension that the museum analogy doesn't work, which is the curator actually takes responsibility in communicating on behalf of the art to the consumer or to the listener, viewer, watcher.
Right.
And so what happens is you get this weird sense of art lovers coming to the museum not just to see good art, but to stand next to people who like art and talk to the person that hung it up because they know that they have common interests.
Right.
It makes them feel part of something. It's community.
Yeah.
You're nailing the head with black with no cream. So my specific community they're incredible. Like they named themselves. Like there's literally a group chat that I created that I put the core ones that are always show up, respond on every video, watch every video, comment on everything, share. Like they're a little army that go out and like they're literally pushing. They're like a street team.
That's crazy. The dots.
The motherfucking
dots.
And they'll go raid other people's streams. They'll be like, yo, we're gonna go on this guy's stream, or we're gonna go ... into it. Because they want people to know who I am. Because they want me to grow.
That's crazy.
It's really cool. And so it's like you kind of forget when you're creating that you're not just like we're so selfish that we think we're creating for ourselves. But it's not the case. Like we're creating for somebody else.
Hell yeah.
And so when you like truly like recognize that and understand that, you're like actually creating for somebody else to experience. Mm-hmm. That's why I think the museum works really well. Because you're not that artist hanging a painting. Like you think, like as a creator, you think you're the person that's hanging the painting, but you're not. You're creating an experience for someone to then enjoy, talk about, and come back and want to come back and want to talk to you about what they experienced and share it. And yeah, that's what they do. And I've done everything I possibly can to cultivate that. And it's tough and it's exhausting and it takes time. It's real work, but there's 30, 50 people that are just diehards. Like
crazy.
And the chat's going nuts all day. And they're sharing stuff and throwing me ideas. Hey, you should make this. Like, hey, do this and that. It'd be great if you did this. And hey, this person did this. What do you think? And it's really cool.
That's really dope.
And so it's one of the best feelings you can get.
The race to 100K.
Race to 100K. Well, yeah.
That shit was fucking amazing. Damn. It's now 3 a.m. 3:10 a.m.
Damn, I gotta get up in 3 hours.
Fuck.
Yeah.
How can they find you?
Jeez.
Help my man's hit 100K.
Jeez, yeah. So Twitter.
I'll link all your shit in the show notes.
It's just at Markus Frieske everything, at m.frisk everything.
So follow both of the channels. Shoot him a message.
Yeah.
Hashtag dots.
Yeah, I mean, let me know I can help. Like I said, my purpose on this earth is to help. I found that I love to create, but in the same way that you might get the sense of accomplishment in like seeing someone like your content that you've made, I feel the same way about being able to impact and help someone create something that's dope. You know, like there's a couple people that I've been working with a lot lately, and I've seen incredible growth. Like, you got to meet. Did you ever get to meet or talk to Mighty Goat?
Probably. I'm so bad with names.
Sure. He got 100,000 subscribers in a year.
Crazy.
Crazy. He, you know, we talked a lot. He took a lot of feedback. He tried, he experimented. He bought into this concept of building a community. He bought into this idea of quantity is quality, not quantity over quality or quality over quantity, just quantity is quality. That you set the bar for quality, and if you can meet that bar with whatever time frame you can commit every single day, then do that at scale. And he determined that his audience is okay with a certain quality, and he was able to scale that to make 2-3 videos a day, and he did it for a year. 2 or 3 videos a day for a year. Fuck. But changed life.
I bet.
He went from like, man, I got to go get a job, to I'm all set. What now, Frisk?
Damn.
How do I make more money? And like that like just that conversation, literally I talked to him about this the other day. I was like, that conversation a year ago is like profound.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you know, it's just wild. So anything can happen in a year. And like so much can happen in a year. I talked to Peter McKinnon about that. Man, he got 1 million subscribers in 9 months.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
Fucking crazy.
And, you know, he, of course, had a viral video that helped him really jump out of the gates, but still he did the work and he showed up.
And stayed with it.
Stayed and stuck with it. And I thought that was really inspiring, too. And everyone has their own path to get there. And, you know, so if anyone wants, like, hey, critique my channel, shoot me a link and I'll tell you what I see. I'll tell you what you need to do, what you need to improve on. I'll be brutally honest, but that's what I think everybody needs. That's what everybody wants deep down, but is sometimes afraid to hear.
And order now for $99.99, and we'll fucking give you a free. All free. Crazy, dude.
I'm not charging any of this.
All right. Hit him up. Appreciate it, dude. That shit was great.
Yeah.
Love you, dog. That's it. How do you want to end it?
I don't know. I can end it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace. Let's go get food.
In and out.
Sleep. In and out.
Fuck. All right, later. Bye, 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 bye. That's it for episode number 14 with Markus Frieske. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Make sure to follow Markus on all platforms. You can find all the links to his social shit in the show notes, which you can go find at blackwindowcream.com/podcast. Leave a review on iTunes and let me know what you loved about this interview. If you're interested in joining the Black Window Cream private group for creators, visit bwnc.com/join. And last but not least, buy some fucking ill-ass merch. Every sale helps me keep this thing alive. Subscribe to Black Window Cream. New episode every single Sunday. See ya next week, you bitch!